Broken Vows. Love, honor, and obey. How could I possibly breach such a simple promise with such a precious husband as Bill? That's what I was thinking when I was alone and frightened, but sometimes, if you're real lucky, fate gives you a second chance, and thereby is my amazing story. When I joined a small dramatic group just to pass away the time during the hours that my husband was at work, I never dreamed it would be a crisis in my life. What shall I do? If I stay, I'll ruin Bill's life as well as my own, and Norman's too. If I go, Bill will get over it. We're hardly ever together anyway. I've got to make a decision. I can't go on like this. All of us unhappy. No, not all of us. Bill, in his innocence, doesn't even suspect. How can he be so blind? I was tormented with doubt, but I did make my decision. Dear Bill, somehow we have lost our way. I hope this won't hurt you, but there is someone else. I am leaving. The rest is up to Bill. He always said my happiness was of top importance. We'll see. Goodbye, Bill. Funny, I should be thinking about Norman instead of. Got to clear my mind now that I've made the move. We'll be happy, I know. He adores me, and I'm in love with him. My heart was pounding as I mounted the stairs to Norman's room. He wasn't expecting me, but I knew he'd be thrilled. Probably should have phoned, but he'll understand. He'll be proud of me that I was strong enough to make my decision alone. Carol, certainly didn't expect you at this hour. Something wrong? Not wrong, darling. Right. I left Bill. I belong here now. This is sort of hasty, isn't it, Carol? What did you intend doing now? You can't stay here. You better go home. Stay here? But I belong here. We'll be married and... Norman, look at me. What have I done? What kind of utter fool am I? Do you understand? Bill has that note now. I can't go home. Norman didn't give me the time to make a scene. He hurried me down to a nearby restaurant. You'll feel better after you have some tea, sweet Carol. Oh, Norman, I was terrified. I thought you had changed your mind. It wasn't easy to write that note to Bill. He's a wonderful person, and he has no idea of us. I realize that. Perhaps it would be better if he did. As a matter of fact, I didn't have too many thoughts of the matter myself. Now that you're calm, Carol, I'm going to give it to you straight. And if you stop and think, this has been entirely your idea. I never mentioned marriage. But you love me. Before we go into that stuff, I'm leaving. And be a smart girl. Go home to your husband. Norman, wait. Don't go. You don't understand. Please. It was like a nightmare. I had left Bill, and now Norman had left me. I wasn't prepared for such a turn of events. It seemed my world had crashed about me. Something I can do for you, miss? No, thank you. No one can help me now. No one. What will I do? Where will I go? I can't go home, not after that note. And Bill is home now. He's read it. Oh, what have I done? Slowly I realized I had brought all this upheaval on my own head. Bill had always been a good husband and a good man. Shame and despair filled my heart. Everyone else is happy and home where they belong, but I had to be the fool. Oh, Mary Brown, the lady from the newsstand. So late for her to see me here sitting in the park like a homeless pigeon. Funny, she didn't even seem to see me. Why, she's crying. What can be wrong? She's usually so jolly. I'd better speak to her. Maybe it's human nature to want to help a fellow human being, but my heart went out to the old woman I knew as such a hard-working soul, and soon I had heard her reason for weeping. But maybe business will pick up. Maybe it's just because... I know the reason, dear. It's because my stand is ready to fall down and I have no funds to repair it. But enough about me. What's a young lady like you doing alone with a suitcase at this hour of the night in the park? I left my husband, and now I can't go home. Can't go home? let me tell you a story about someone who thought they couldn't go home. My own husband. We were married years ago. Mike was a handsome man, and it was a happy, proud day when I stood by his side and became his wife. If I do say so myself, we made a storybook couple. I now pronounce you man and wife. Life was everything a young couple could ask for between Mike and me. We worked together, played together, and dreamed together. As we promised with our wedding vows, we shared everything. It will always be like this, Mary, just the two of us with the whole world at our feet. Yes, Mike, love is such a precious possession. It seems as though all happiness must come from love. When I said those words, I hadn't counted on the girl next door having her own ideas about my husband, and Mike began to find her charms hard to resist. Then I had something to fret about, but I decided the best course was just to depend that our love would see me through this. Oh, Mike, how can you? One day after Mike had left, I noticed a note addressed to me, propped up on the table. I guess I almost knew what it would say, and I was right. Mike told me it was all over between us. He had left. I just won't believe it. He's done a foolish thing, but he'll soon come to his senses. And so I began my vigil. Nothing would convince me that our love wasn't stronger than any impulsive action my husband had followed up on. He was no stranger to me. I knew the real goodness within him. Lonely hours. Lonely until our love opens your eyes, Mike. And I'll be waiting, no matter how long. It was about midnight when I saw his dejected figure coming down the street. He walked slowly, as if timid about his direction. He needed me then, and I ran to the door. Mike! I'm ashamed, Mary, but I want to come home. Tears shone in his eyes as he tried to explain, but love was also there, and that's all that mattered to me. I don't know what came over me. What a fool I am. Hush, you're home, and that's the important thing. It was all a mistake, but it's all ended now. Let's even discuss it, darling. Mary Brown stared off into space after she finished her story, and I felt a new surge of courage in my heart. Perhaps, could I be that lucky too? Do you think Bill would feel that way? I mean, love me enough to forgive me? Oh, I'm certain of it. When you go home, you'll see, but don't waste any more time. Go along home right now. Not until I do something to help you. Couldn't we work together on your stand and repair it somehow? Well, bless you, my child. I guess I was mighty discouraged, but I suppose a few nails here and there would fix up the stand, and I can do that. You had better go home. Mary Brown's newsstand was on my way home, and I wouldn't let her talk me out of trying to help her in payment for the load she had lifted from my heart. There, see what a few nails and wires have done? Wonderful, but I'm worried about you now, Carol. It's dawn. Shouldn't you leave now? If you get a chance sometime, you might stop by and let me know how you made out. I know it's going to be just fine. Mary Brown, you're a wonderful person. You've shown me so many things about love, and I feel brave enough now to face my husband and beg his forgiveness. That's the girl. You'll never regret it. Good luck to you both. As fast as I could, I went home. Anxiety mingled with hope as I entered our apartment. Bill, darling, are you asleep? Oh, my note. He worked later than usual. He didn't even see it. Oh, am I lucky? I'll tear it up. The enormity of what I did had come to me as the door opened, and I looked into the dearest face in the world, my husband's. With a sob, I ran to him. Oh, Bill, darling, if I ever lost you, you're my whole life. Carol, honey, what's wrong? I expected to find you asleep. Had to finish up some extra work tonight, and... Bill, I've got to tell you, I almost ran away. I'm a terrible wife. I almost ruined our marriage. I don't deserve you. Just a minute, baby. Slow down. What on earth are you talking about? Through my sobs, I managed to tell Bill and beg his forgiveness. And I love you. I love you so much. Oh, Bill. Never mind, honey. It's the main thing that you're home now. I counted my blessings for having a husband as wonderful as Bill, and he was even dear enough to think of Mary Brown. He felt she deserved some word of news from us. She was so right, darling. She told me love solves almost all of life's problems. Words of wisdom. I'm anxious to meet this lady sage. Yes, Mrs. Brown, I'm Bill. My wife and I owe you a vote of thanks. Miss Brown, young man, I sort of wove a tale for poor Carol. She was desperate, poor child. It's wonderful to see that things worked out the way they should for you two. You mean you made up all that about Mike? Oh, I usually tell the truth. Don't misunderstand. Sometimes a person has to reach into their bag of tricks to help one another. Don't forget, I was as discouraged in my way as you were, Carol, and you gave me encouragement too.